Welcome S3 Fanatics, it's Peter, your Audi S3 Fanatic. Recently there has been some buzz around the Audi community, specifically the S3 community, about paddle extenders for our S3 platform. Now I recently ran into a company called TAW, it's spelled T-A-W Chicago, so TAW Chicago, who specialize in creating custom-made steering wheels for the Audi S3 and I believe a few other Audi platform vehicles. In addition, they also make some paddle extenders. Now these I'm showing you are my stock ones. The paddles that I purchased from TAW Chicago are currently installed in my S3, and what I will show you today is how to remove your OEM paddle shifters and replace them with a set of carbon fiber TAW Chicago paddle extenders. Some of you are probably wondering, why on earth would we want to go ahead and swap out our paddle shifters on our S3 steering wheel? Now, if you're like myself and track your car frequently or do some aggressive canyon driving, and if your paddles look anything like this, you're going to quickly realize the paddle size are not very adequate for aggressive driving. Now, mine have a paddle extender on them, and to be frank with you, when I first got these were not very bad. They're large enough that when I drive aggressively, I can quickly shift and move around the steering wheel with ease and still be able to shift. Unfortunately, the problem that you run with paddle extenders is the very top of the paddle. When you're clicking on the gears, it doesn't feel very good in terms of shifting points. So what it does is it kind of pulls something like this, but it does not shift the gear itself. Now I'm going to do a full review on the TAW Chicago paddle extenders to give you my honest opinion on what I think of them on a day-to-day use. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get you guys knowledgeable with how to install these paddle extenders on your car. Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and get started on the removal of the airbag to access the paddle shifters. Now obviously you guys have seen that I already have my paddle shifters installed, but I wanted to go ahead and go through the whole process again to make sure that we do this correct. The first thing that you need to do is you need to disconnect the negative terminal on the battery to release all power to the car. So right now my car has no power whatsoever. There's going to be two pins that actually hold the airbag in. They're located at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, and what I've done is I have rotated my wheel to the 3 o'clock position, turning straight ahead. I'm going to go ahead and pull the wheel as far back and as low as possible. From here, we're going to access one of the clips back here to disengage it. Now, it's going to be very helpful if you have a small flathead screwdriver. We're going to put that little clip and push down. From here, we'll go ahead and pull on the airbag. And as you can see, this part of the airbag came off. Now, my airbag came off very easily because I had it off yesterday to put the paddles on. But what you're going to have to do is you need to unclip this side. You saw me pull on here, and what that does is it releases it. The airbag itself may move up and actually disengage from the other side. So now I have the airbag removed. I'll go ahead and show you guys from here. Don't know if you can see it, but here's one of the clips. Here is the other clip here. Now I'll go ahead and point right down here is where the clip actually locks into place. Now from here, I've got a little prying tool. I'm going to pull on this white lever here. What that does is it releases this clip here, and from here you should be able to pinch and remove this part off. Alright. Now what you're going to do is you're going to pull on this assembly here. Now there is a trick to this here. The best way I found to do it is to put a little prying tool, and you want to actually open this up here. And then you'll see, because I forced this open, it just unclipped out like that. Now we'll go ahead, this is the internal of the airbag, we'll go ahead and set it aside. And we'll go ahead and turn our wheel back straight. Now the next step to accessing your paddles, you actually need to remove the center trim. And this center trim, it looks like a T, so it's going to go up and across. It houses these electronic controllers, so you'll need to remove this. Now if you take a look at the inside molding, you're going to see that there are a few clips, and it's actually molded. This here is very soft molding foam, and what you're going to do is you're just slowly going to pull on this here, and you'll see them actually come out just a little bit. So just pull it slowly, but just nice and easy. And then you'll see I have released one clip here. I'll go ahead and release this clip just a tiny bit here at a time. And then you'll see this whole piece popped out. Now, these two controllers have a backing that's actually, I wouldn't say locked in, but it looks like a large mushroom at the very end that goes into a hole and it holds it in. Now when you're pulling these two out, you need to be extremely careful and take your time. There's going to be wires that connect the controllers into a little clip. Now yesterday I pulled on this one too hard, not realizing it, and I pulled my wire from the clip. So just be very cautious. And again, we'll go ahead and do the very top. Once again, just really nice and easy. Just take your time, and you'll feel that release. Now we'll do this the same thing. Just pull it nice and easy. Alright, so this is nice and released. We'll do the same thing here, nice and easy. Just remember, you cannot pull on it too hard. Okay, and it looks like it takes me a little longer because I am taking my time. Now I'm going to flip this over so that you guys can see. Here's one of the wires. Here's the other wire that you could inadvertently pull out if you pull too hard. Now here is that little plastic clip or mushroom that I was referring to. So what we'll go ahead and do is we're going to use this little pick, and I'm going to remove this here just to be safe. There's one. We'll grab it and pull this one out. So here is the trim that houses the electronic components. On the flip side, you've got the connectors that go in. There's that funky mushroom that holds it into place. Now that we have complete access to the paddles, we're going to use a T20 star, a star bit. We'll put it in here. You're simply going to go ahead and just remove this bolt here. So what I'm going to do with my paddle, I'm going to push it out slowly this way, and then you'll see the paddle will actually be removed, and there is a little hole that sits right in there. So if you take a look at, let's see if I can kind of show you guys real quick. Here's probably a better idea. So it literally goes in just like this, and then you'll remove it out like that. And that is the paddle. Okay, now that we have the paddles removed, I will show you how to assemble them into the slots. Now here is the right side. What you're going to first do is you're going to take this little plug, stick it through the hole here, and then with that little bracket that I had told you about, you need to angle it somewhat up and into the recess. So there you're seeing that it's actually in. We'll do the other side. Same thing. We'll go ahead and take this plug here, put it right into this little hole, angle it up, and just push in. Now you'll see both of them are into their respective slots. From here, it's just reverse order. Now you have successfully installed your paddles. Now that we have both of the paddles in, we're going to go ahead and install the trim. Now the easiest thing to do, and again you've got to be very careful with these wires, you can flip it up this way here to install. Okay, both of these are in. The next thing that you want to do is this loose wire here, there's actually a groove that it goes into. So what you do, you'll go ahead and put into that groove. And at this point, what I would recommend that you guys do is you want to, and I'll pull this out so you can see. Hopefully you can see these little indentation tabs here that will go right into here. What I'd recommend that you do at this point is go ahead and kind of line it up here. You can slowly push it in if you want, but not completely in. And what that does is it seats the trim into the area that it needs to go into. And from here, I'm going to go ahead and just plug or put the wiring into its little recessed area. I'll slowly push in to set the trim. And then what you want to do after you have the trim in is just to make sure that all of the tabs are into its respective molded piece. And this looks perfect. Go ahead and check this here. It's nice and flat, except this one here, just a little push. Now you can see it's nice and flat. Now we'll go ahead and install the airbag. First thing that you want to do is you want to go ahead and connect this piece here. Keep in mind this tab here goes up into the little clip. And now we'll go ahead and run this into its respective groove as well. We'll line it straight up like this. And from here, we'll go ahead and attach the connection. Push the clip in. and then you want to go ahead and push the retaining clip to lock that pin in. Now, word of advice, I'll kind of turn this around. There are 4 little clips, and if you look into your wheel, there's 4 slots available. So you're just going to push it straight ahead. It's going to take a little force. Make sure everything looks good, it's clipped in, and we'll go ahead and push in. You heard 1 clip, and there you have the other clip. Double check that everything is in. Horn is even. Right side, left side. Everything is nice and secure. If you have done this properly, everything will be even and you have successfully installed your paddles. The final thing that you want to do at this point is go ahead and connect your negative battery. You're going to go ahead and turn on your car, and when you do turn on your car, your dash is going to light up like a Christmas tree. Don't worry about that. Anytime that you disconnect the battery and you plug it back in, it's going to light up. It should go away within a matter of 5 minutes. There's a couple things that will also go away when you drive off. So at that point, you are pretty much done. Your upgraded paddle shifters from TAW Chicago. Now that I've had a few days to sample the carbon fiber paddle extenders from TAW Chicago, I wanted to share with you guys my honest assessment of the paddle extenders from a day-to-day use. Now, when I first got the extenders, I will say that I was pretty impressed with how they look. The carbon fiber weaving looked fantastic. The red plus and minus on the paddle extenders themselves, it looked sharp. So in all, it looked great. Now, I wanted to go ahead and kind of pinpoint 3 things that I really like about these paddles. The first thing, once that you're able to install them and have a chance to grasp the steering wheel and the paddles, the first thing that you're going to notice is the fact that the carbon fiber weave has a clear coat on it. Now, that's pretty significant because what it does is it gives a little feel on the paddles. Now, my old paddle extenders, they were just straight aluminum, and it was very slick and had no tactical feel to the paddle themselves. I personally like the touch of these. It's not slippery by all means, but it has just the amount of feel to it that lets you know that you've got a quality piece of carbon fiber with some level of clear coat on it. The next thing that you're going to notice when you actually drive the vehicle, and this is probably my favorite feature, is the shifts when you're actually clicking on them. Hopefully you guys were able to hear that. The click and shifts of the paddle is crisp, and it's hard for me to describe, but when I am shifting, I can really feel that click and hear it as well, so it's very crisp. Now, the third thing that I really like about these paddle extenders is, unlike some other extenders that are pretty large, and when you're trying to click on the very upper portion of the extender, all it does is you can pull on it, but it doesn't actually shift any gears. Now, these paddle extenders, they're firm, and I am able to knock off clicks on the very top of the paddles. So if you take a look at it from a tracking standpoint, you're typically at 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock, so you've got your hands there and you're shifting away. That's super crisp. Other paddles, if you're using 10 and 2 as driving points, And if you try to shift using your paddle extenders, you are going to be lucky if you can consistently shift. That's one of the problems that I had with my old paddles. But again, with these TAW Chicago paddle extenders, I'm able to use a 10 and 2 slot and shift, and I'll let you guys hear it. It's great. On the downside, you can also hear it as well. So those are great points of the TAW Chicago paddle shifters. Now, I tried to think long and hard about some negatives of these paddles, and in all honesty, again, this is my honest opinion, I wasn't able to come up with a whole lot. Probably the most pressing concern that I have is the fact that the paddles are not cheap. They're pretty pricey, but you guys do have to remember we're talking about carbon fiber here, and it is an actual paddle, and we're not talking about an extender that you will glue on or actually screw on your stock paddles. So definitely take that under consideration. The build quality I think is really nice, and this, from my understanding, the ones that I have are a first run, and in my opinion, this company is only going to go up in terms of quality. So these are only going to get better. So if you decide to buy these, I definitely give the thumbs up on these here. Hopefully this has given you guys some good insight on what I think of the TAW Chicago paddle shifters. Now, you guys will notice I use paddle shifters and not extenders because they truly are not an extender. They are a true paddle shifter that is substantially larger than the OEM. They look fantastic, and from a day-to-day shifting standpoint, I really like them. Once again, guys, thanks for watching another the Audi S3 Fanantic video. Hopefully I've given you some very good insight. Look forward to seeing you in the future for another DIY video.